Hey folks, welcome to this awesome video on how to skin a beaver for the fur market or for your own personal use for tanning. But we just caught our beaver and we have a raw carcass on that, and we're going to take the hide off today. So I'm glad you clicked that video. This is going to be for your own personal use. Got a beautiful beaver here, and let's get started on this video. Generally speaking, the only problem areas I usually have is right in here in this back region, right along the spine, and then usually right around the ear region. So that's usually an area that I happen to have problems with. You're not going to pull much of this hide. We're basically just going to roll it as we kind of go. So let's get started with that. Okay, so I'm going to get started with the longer bladed knife. I like to use a longer bladed knife. It helps to keep my first cut straight. If you want to go ahead and purchase the beaver knife, these are really handy to have. You don't have to have these. And then I usually will use a skinning knife around the head area. You could really use all this in just one knife. But I'm going to get started with the first initial cut. So we're going to make a cut directly from the middle portion of the tail all the way through the orifice. And we're going to try and, he's kind of sideways, but I'm going to try and do this as straight as possible all the way up. And then I go right through the middle part of the teeth. Don't have to go real deep, just going to go deep enough to get that going for you. All right, let's make the initial cut. And my beaver's like sideways right now. If you happen to have, like, some guys, they'll use a trough, which is really handy to have. I just don't have one. There, just gonna make them nice and straight. Don't go deep. One thing is, if you do have pets and you're inside, they will have fleas. So if you need to spray them with some sort of a flea killer, it's just another little helpful tip for you. And then just gonna go underneath. And straight up, just like that. So there's my initial cut. It's just all the way through the middle. And that's there. That's the first cut. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate how to do the legs. So I like to do the back leg first. All I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cut right here at the Achilles tendon. And then there's a ball right here. In that, I'm going to go directly to it. And then I'm going to go in a circle. And then I'm going to twist. You can, if you want to, you can. See how I just went right to that tendon? Some guys cut them with a saw. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to get right to that ball. And then from here, it just takes a twist. And just like that, that sucker's off there. So you just want to come to that ball. On the back side, I'll do it one more time for you on the other one. Hopefully you can see that real well. I'm going to cut it to the ball, go around the leg on both sides. Oh, didn't quite get it. And just like that. Okay, now the other hands are super easy too. So I'm going to start right here at the bottom end of it. Hopefully you guys can see that real well. And then I'm going to go into the ball on it and twist on it as well. Just like that. There, that one just popped right off. So there's the 4 legs. And I've got that process all finished. So now we're going to do the skinny part. And so if you have any questions, just kind of go to the ball of that and then just twist. They're real simple to come off. Okay, now comes the fun part of taking the beaver hide actually off. We're going to get below the membrane part of the skin. I'll hopefully try to demonstrate that later. Usually around the belly area is going to be white. And then we're going to pick up that back portion, which is going to be a membrane. And later on, I'm going to flesh that off. Some people like to leave that on, a process they call clean skin. But I'm going to go ahead and leave the membrane on today. It's just easier for me to skin that. So, all right, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the initial cut. So, there really isn't much pulling on a beaver. It's the only bad thing about this, but it's a real thicker leather. So like your coons, you're pulling those. With your coyotes, you're pulling those. With your fox, you're pulling those. Beaver, there really isn't much pulling to do. It's mostly knife work and just rolling of the hide, and we'll get to rolling them here in a second. I'm just kind of pulling with this one hand and cutting with the other. So, and I'm letting my knife do all the work. And they're not as thin as fox and coyotes. They're super thin, you know, like you can't run your knife over that leather as much as you can a beaver. Now the otter is going to be just the same or similar in thickness. I'm assuming it's because they're aquatic mammals. That's an assumption I have. I'm not a biologist, so I couldn't tell you why, but now we're starting to pick up that membrane that's right here. And I can pick it up at any time, and I probably will. I'm going to pick it up right here. You can see it. It's just right coming off of that leg right there. And I'm going to pick it up. It's going to make my skinning so much easier. When I get around the neck region, I'll have to drop the membrane again. But you can see the difference between the fat and the meat. But I'm going to keep that. I'm going to pick it up. It's just easier for me to skin. I'm hoping you guys can see that pretty well. And right here, same way with the orifice area. I'm just gonna drop that. Usually if I ever have any issues, it's on the back side of the tail or around that neck region. The only times a lot of times will make a cut mark in my hide. Okay, now I'm going to start the rolling of the hide. So I'm putting him on his side. I'm just going to kind of use gravity to help me, to help move that hide back. And I'm not using anything special. You could do this with a pocket knife if you want. Beavers are really pretty simple to skin, but I'm here to guide you through it if you need some help or something to come back to as far as future reference is concerned. I just keep rolling that. I got that back membrane here, so I'm going to pick up the foot. There we go. There's the opening on the foot. just kind of keep, there's not real, when you get close to that hide, it's real white. I don't know if you can see that or not. See how white that is? So and cut along the tail. I'm not going to keep any part of that tail. That's usually this area right here along the spine is where I usually, if I make a mistake, that's about where I make it at. But you can see there's really no pulling, it's just all knife work. And work my way back. I'll try my beaver knife for a little while. These are pretty handy to have. They're not real expensive either. Alright, let's get around the... I usually like to do the head and neck last, because usually when they go to bleeding, that's usually about where I like to do. I like to do the head and neck last. But that's my secret of doing it. Like I said earlier, there's lots of different ways of doing it. So, and Jinx is not #1 at doing this, I'm sure. But I like to do the head and neck area last, because around the ear region, usually there'll be a vein I'll want to hit, and then blood goes everywhere. It's never fun. Okay guys, so I'm gonna do the around the next arm up here, and just kind of roll it. You can see my hands underneath it. And just kind of roll it back. And then right here, I'm going to push it this way. And I'm going to roll it over the top of that, because we already cut it, right? So it should just fall right off. That's what it's going to do. There, see? Piece of cake, right? Got that out of there. Like I said, I'm going to do that head neck area last. So I already got most of my beaver done. And there's that membrane area. We're going to drop that right there, see? But I like to keep the membrane on there. Just, it's so much easier to skin. And then I'll take that off when I flesh. See how much easier that is to come right off? I just did his entire backside right there. Making good progress. Gonna flip the beaver over. We're gonna do the other side. Okay folks, so you can see I'm not going very deep when I first make that first cut. I'm just going below that. And then I'm just, hopefully that could show that way. I'm just pulling on it. And I'm getting underneath it. But it's a real thick leather, so you can't make too many mistakes. And if you do, it's no big deal. You can fix that later on the board. Gonna pick up that membrane here soon. There it is. I'm going to pop these legs out just like I did the other one. Just keep moving it, rolling it. That's what we're going to do. There we go. Tail region's off. Now comes the fun part. Alright, you can see I got most of it off, so just gonna start working around that head area. Whoops, I didn't get that one done, did I? Alright folks, so I got most of the beaver all done up to this point, and then I'm gonna get this around this neck area, and then I'll show you how to do the last of that. And hopefully you guys can understand how you do those arms. You just kind of keep rolling it over. It's real simple. And that arm will pop out, see? Hopefully that you don't need to... I'll do this last arm for you, so you can see it. See? Just kind of, I keep pulling it towards that head neck area. That's the direction I'm going now. I just let my knife do all the work. Alright, I'm getting close to the neck, closer to the neck area now. Usually, like I said earlier, when I make a mistake, you can see where that's white. It's right in here. Or around the eye area. And it just kind of depends on how fast I want to move. And otherwise, I just kind of pay attention to what I'm doing and try not to cut too deep so I don't get blood all over the table. We're going to pick the ears up here in a second. Right there they are. You can kind of see it right here. It's real thin. And then you kind of feel there's an ear orifice. So you're just going to poke it down. And you see the hole I just got it. And then just keep rolling from there. But you got to get the ears out on both sides. See, it's right here. You kind of feel the cartilage too if you roll your thumb over it. You can't find it and you're new to this. And then you just go straight down. Just straight down from there. If you happen to make a mistake, just try to go underneath that and then pick up where you make your mistake. You go backwards on the hide. That way you don't make the pelt bigger. Now I'm getting to the teeth area. And I just kind of put pressure with this hand, pulling. And then with this hand going straight down. Around the lip area now. I want to get this other side caught up. And I like to hang it over the table because all of this meat and everything that's on that is helping me with the pulling process. That's just a secret, or just something I like to do. I have like a little 5-gallon barrel, and then I got a piece of plywood that I'm using. It works pretty good. For me anyways. But if you can't do it that way, it doesn't have to be done that way. Alright, so now I'm at the eye area. I just barely picked that up right there. And then now all I'm going to do is go underneath that eye and then keep going. And I'm trying not to pick up a big eye, what we call a big eye. See how I just did that? I just went to the eye and then I went down along the side and I just kept going. And then I'm going to pick my hide back up. Kind of similar to the ear. And I'm almost finished. I'm going to do the other side just the same. So I'm at that eye area. I'm going to run my knife back and forth and just the separation. There. And that one takes a little bit of time to do. If you make a big eye, like a great big circle eye, that's not a real big deal. They buy them by the back. They don't buy them by the head. But just pick up and do your best from there. Sometimes the eyes and the ears can be tricky, especially the eyes, the first time or two you do it. I'm going to grab my lip and my nose. That's the last of it. So this is just a little chunk that's left, and there's a nose on there. I'm going to go straight in and back. See that? I'm just going straight down. I'm going to finish out all the way down to the end. And that's it. There's what the perfect head looks like. And eyes and ears. If you can see the two eyes, the nose, ears. If you make a mistake, it'll just be a big eye. It's no big deal. You'll get better in time. But, alright. Alright, so there's my carcass. You can see I didn't hit any of the veins on this one, so I'm pretty happy about that. Usually, a lot of times if you make a mistake, you'll hit a vein right here. And it just makes a mess is all. I just try to keep my hide out of it as much as possible. But, yeah. Now I'm going to take my carcass, I'm going to put that in my carcass pile. And I'm going to dispose of that in a very responsible manner. And same way with my feet. Well, I almost forgot. I'm going to take the caster out next. So, before I do that, I'm just going to show you the pelt and how it turns out. And that's the finished product. Really came out pretty good. I left a little bit of meat on the back, which is fine. And there's that back membrane I was talking about right here. You can see it. And that's that meat portion. We're going to take that off later when we do our flushing. But yeah, it looks really good. Came out nice. When I go to freeze this, you could take it and flip it over the top like this, and you can roll it. And I'll show you how to roll it. And I usually will you can comb it before you roll it if you want. Usually I'll comb mine before I scrape anyways. Just hang it up and comb it out. Otherwise it'll go in the deep freeze like that, and that'll work well. If you're flushing, you do a lot of flushing, what I'll do is I'll go leather to leather, just like that, and then I'll freeze it straight like that, because it thaws out so much easier. So when I go to taking it out, I'll just set it out, and usually it thaws so much quicker than when you roll it. So when you store beaver, you just always leather to leather, fur to fur. So just like that. It looks pretty good. Came out just nice. Hey folks, that turned out really super awesome. We got that beaver pelt off there. Super beautiful. So anyways, I hope you guys liked that episode. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe. Otherwise, click the thumbs up. I'm Jinx, and have a great day.